Welcome to Recreation, Attractions, and Clubs. This week we're going to talk a little bit more. It's going to really build on last week's conversation with tourism, where we talked about the transient occupancy tax and the multiplier effect and what that does for the hospitality industry. So one of the things it funds is some of the attractions that people want to go and visit. So as an example, some of the government-sponsored recreation that we think about, parks, recreational services, are made possible because of the revenue that is earned from income tax, sales tax, property tax, and the transient occupancy tax. So all of that goes to fund some of the different things that you'll see here. So such as national parks, which were founded in 1916, thinking about national parks a little bit more. A little bit later. Also commercial recreation, right? So not government sponsored, but actually for profit. The first of which began Knott's Berry Farm. It was a tea room and berry farm and really started the amusement park industry. Thinking about the most famous, you'll go into detail with Epcot and Disney, Hollywood Studios, Universal Studios. Some of the theme parks have to do with animals and zoos. You also have Hershey's. There's some regional theme parks as well that you're looking at on the screen, as well as historic places and sites. And this is actually a perfect week to be thinking about that, because when we think about some of these sites and museums, there's also thinking about the reasons that people travel, right? And a lot of people are traveling on Monday, April 8th, to be in the path of totality for the eclipse, which goes kind of across the United States, kind of from Texas, swinging up into the East Coast. When we think about destinations and why people travel, and I want you to San Francisco and thinking about all the things that we just discussed: national parks, theme parks, animal attractions, historic sites, museum, performance arts. What does our city have to offer? And you'll have a little bit of an activity to be able to look at that. I love this picture of Golden Gate Park, so I put it up often. The other part that is in here is clubs, which seems a little bit unusual. Private clubs are places where people gather for social, recreational, professional, or fraternal reasons. The clubs are kind of a mix of a lot of what we've talked about in hospitality so far. So it's kind of a little bit something, serving as a restaurant at times, but also incorporates recreation in some cases. I think of golf clubs and country clubs that have golf courses attached to them often. But they run very similarly to like a hotel or a restaurant, where you have kind of a front of house manager and you have some heart of house people that are cleaning the establishment. The major difference is that people that purchase into being a member of a club have that sense of ownership. Kind of like fractional ownership of like timeshares that you would think of. So that's the complication there. However, as we think about different career paths, I'd like to point that out, that there are career paths. If you think about, if you wanted to work in the culinary field, you could really do that in so many different places, not just a restaurant, but so many different places. And a private club is certainly one of those. And as we wrap up this week's reminders, I did want to do a small plug for the service evaluations. Remembering back to week 1 when we talked about what was important for service, we had these service evaluation criteria points that we all provided that would lead to an effective service experience. And as a reminder, the opportunity is for you to both share stories and then comment on stories as well. Not really so much at the very end of the semester, but to be able to participate all semester long. So if you haven't yet had a chance, please make sure that you take a look and comment on some of your colleagues' stories that they've shared. And if you've had a service experience yourself, please don't hesitate to provide some insight as to our criteria points that I have up on the screen here as a refresher, so that you can kind of go through your service experience and say how it did according to our service evaluation. So I wish you a great week ahead. If you get a chance to check out the solar eclipse, that could be a service evaluation too. I'd love to hear that as part of this section of hospitality and people traveling for natural phenomenon. Interesting. Thanks so much and have a great week.